Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to the program, welcome to the show. This is Mark Vlogs Watches, and I am your host, Mark Goldberg. Before we jump into the meat and potatoes of this video, let's get the quick fist watch check out of the way. Just sit there, I got you. Okay, today I am wearing a Breitling B042 millimeter chronomat, which I dearly love, with the Rolex bracelet. But that is not the topic of today's video. Today I want to talk about exhibition pieces at the Rolex AD and can you or can you not buy them. Now before I move ahead, I want to give some credit where credit is due. My brother, my horological brother, Jay Anthony, has a very nice YouTube channel cleverly called Jay Anthony. So J.Anthony. So go look him up, watch his latest video, which is all about why you cannot buy a watch today at the Rolex AD. He's got some thought-provoking material there, but he talked a little bit about exhibition pieces. And so I kind of want to give you my take on that. So here's the inside scoop based on what I have interpolated, okay? Not an AD in the world is going to reveal critically secretive, confidential Rolex information. None of them want to get in trouble with their Rolex rep. So this is not based on, this is not based on a rat, okay? But it's by observation and by lots of anecdotal evidence. Okay, so here's the deal. First, what is an exhibition watch for exhibition only? Well, for about a solid 2 years during the pandemic, the Rolex shelves were bare, and so you'd walk into an AD and there'd be like 1 or 2 watches in the case, which was totally embarrassing, really, to the AD, and not good for the brand either. Like zero inventory, nothing to even look at. So what Rolex started to do was create exhibition watches only, and they would send them to the ADs. And these are fully functioning watches, by the way, guys. They have movements. There was a great big rumor when they first started this a couple years ago that these watches had no movements, but they have always had movements. So these are fully functional. These are fully functional models. And what they started doing was sending these exhibition watches for placement in the case in the front of the store or wherever the first Rolex case is. And they have these little signs which say for exhibition only, which they sprinkle around those watches. They will let you try them on, even if you're not a current customer, even if you don't have a relationship. They'll let you touch, sniff, lick and feel a Rolex. Speaking of which, lick, like, and subscribe. So do all that, YouTube stuff for me right now. I always forget that. But anyway, and because they didn't want the Rolex AD to look so sad. Now, and what would happen with those watches is they would occasionally go back, collect them from the store, or a few of them, the Rolex rep, which I'll explain in a minute, would go back and collect some of those watches and then forward them onto a different store so that they could rotate exhibition only watches. Like you might have a Sky Dweller, a Sea Dweller, a couple subs in different metals, and a bunch of, Datejust, let's say, on exhibition only at store A, and then different inventory at store B. And then they would mix and match so that the different stores could show off different watches. This was certainly preferable to having empty slots in the case, which is just, kind of flat out embarrassing for ADs who have such a lot of money invested in their store and in the fixtures, and let alone a Rolex SA in Geneva, Switzerland. Like they couldn't manufacture enough. I mean, the factory was closed during the pandemic a couple times, the longest time for about 6 or 8 weeks, because the border was shut down between France and Switzerland. And actually, a lot of the Rolex workers live in France but work in Switzerland. It's a mishmash of countries and borders over there, fellas. But lately and eventually, certain exhibition-only pieces have been freed up by the Rolex rep to be sold at the AD where they currently reside. So the AD may have had, let's say, a blue dial Sky Dweller in stainless steel in a Jubilee bracelet sitting there for 3, 4, 5, 6 months as an exhibition-only piece. But then they get the word from the AD, hey, we're going to supply you with the box and papers, and you'll be able to sell this watch. So the Rolex AD, who is that? Every territory has a Rolex AD who calls upon X number of ADs or jewelry store representatives in his area or her area. I can't tell you too much more than that. These are shifty people with wonderful jobs who remain very much below ground. They're deep moles. They are not double agents, but they are very deeply planted. remember, guys, we may own a Rolex, we may covet a Rolex, but we are not the customer of Rolex. We are the customer of the jewelry store / AD. The AD is the customer of Rolex. The only people that Rolex sells to is the AD, and they use on-site representatives to service those ADs. So your AD or any AD will receive typically a shipment every other week. So they'll get a box, and they're like little kids running to Christmas to open the box and see what they're gonna get, because they don't know what's in that box. They can tell their rep, hey, you know, we're looking for one of these or one of those. If you find one, you know, if you can, please. But and sometimes that may produce results to a degree unknown. But what I can tell you is they're not placing an order. Now on the Omega side, send me this many Seamasters, send me this many sandwich dial moon watches, you know, speedies, that kind of thing. Yeah, they can do that, but not with Rolex. You take what you get. But what'll happen is the rep will clear a watch for sale sometimes, and that means then they're supplying the box and papers, and the AD can then sell that watch. Now, how long that watch remains in the exhibition only case just depends on the AD. That situation is very fluent. Remember, there are hundreds and hundreds, actually over 1,000 ADs in the world. In the United States alone, there's, I think, 300 or 400 of them, if memory serves. And some of them own 1, 2, 3 units. Some of them own 20 stores. But by and large, these are relatively small companies, unless we get into a couple of larger exceptions to that rule. The reason I'm saying this is because there are a ton of policies on how they handle sales of exhibition watches, which Rolex representatives have told them they can now sell. As many AD chains as you have, that's how many AD policies you have also, because there is no rule on high from Rolex. Now, there are a few guidelines that Rolex stipulates for their ADs, and among those are, we prefer it if you sell to people who are local to you, unless you're in a big tourist center like Las Vegas or the Hong Kong airport, number one. Number two, we prefer you sell to people who you know, wink, wink, because we prefer that our watches not get flipped onto the resale market. Some of the ADs abide by that nicely. Some of them are, you know, cheesy and sell out the back door. I still don't know how they get away with that. Maybe it's happening less now, but that wasn't really, but I digress. So, some of these ADs who have been told, yes, you can sell that blue sky dweller, here's what they're gonna do. They're gonna go right to their wish list. They're gonna go right to their waiting list. Some guys are gonna call the first name on the list. Some guys are gonna call the last name on the list. Some guys are gonna call their best customers who may not have even asked for that watch, but it's a hot one, you know? It's a hype watch, that one. And so some of them may just make a few dozen calls to see if any of their heavy hitters wanted, hey, we unexpectedly have a blue steel sky dweller on Jubilee. Would you like it? It's a really hot watch. And if they get positive response, well, you know, of course, guys, if you were running a business and you had a hot commodity, something that was in great demand, let's be honest here, wouldn't you prefer to make that sale to one of your better customers to reinforce that relationship than Joe Rando, you know, with a one-off purchase, right? I'm a dog trainer, and so when I have plenty of space available for boarding and training, you know, if you're a nice person, you got a nice dog, you want help, I'm here to help you. But now you're trying to book Christmas or Thanksgiving or 4th of July. And I do work over all of those holidays, but I have very limited capacity because people book ahead. So I have one space left, and I have a really good customer who has just been a constant presence in my life with their dog for the last year or two, versus somebody I haven't met before. And they're asking for assistance at the same day for the same one kennel left that I have available over Christmas. Who do you think I'm gonna give it to? You know, so, and honestly, any of us would do the same. Don't get me wrong, it's super annoying when you become the victim rather than the beneficiary of this. So, can you buy an exhibition only watch? Oh, I hate to put it to you like this, guys, but it entirely depends. How can you increase your chances? Well, I'm talking to you right now, Jay Anthony, my brother. You said you don't like to play games. You just want to pay the money for the watch. So you've been on a wait list for like 3 years in your local area, but you don't touch base with them. That's a mistake, unless you just really don't care. guys, if you play stupid games, you might win stupid prizes, like a Rolex. So no, I do not buy stuff I don't want from the AD. I'm not willing to spend tens of thousands of dollars to get on a maybe list. And I'm not advocating that anybody do that. I mean, look, if you're gonna buy a $20,000 engagement ring anyway, well, hell's bells, you ought to be buying that from the same guy who could, hook you up with a Panda Daytona or something, sure. But I wouldn't do it just because. But all in all, people prefer to sell to their friends and buy from their friends. You don't need more, AD garbage. You just need more friends. You want to win the lottery? You gotta buy a ticket. Goldberg, peace out.